Thank you for staying with us for another edition of the program Evidence. We are receiving Larry ESSONG. He is the publisher of the school newspaper and equally the president of the committee for the fight against human trafficking and rights abuse, abbreviated as COMATRA. He's here to tell us more about some 14 girls trapped in Kuwait out of Cameroon. They are calling for help from the Cameroon government to help bring them back into the country. They went out of the country in search for greener pasture, but unfortunately they are being treated as slaves. We shall be receiving Larry ESSONG to give us more information as far as that is concerned. We shall equally find out issues concerning reporting in the southwest region of the country that have been rocked by the Anglophone crisis. Stay with us. We receive Larry ESSONG. Thank you for coming, sir.
It's my pleasure, Dominic, and to the team on duty. It's always been Canada English, and I'm elated to be part of this program this day.
We are happy to receive you to talk about 14 Cameroonian girls that are presently in Kuwait. They have been calling on the government of Cameroon to intervene for their repatriation in the country, given that they are suffering. They went out for greener pasture, but unfortunately they are being treated as slaves. You own an organization, call it an association, that fight against human trafficking and the right abuse in Cameroon, abbreviated as COMATRA. When you got this information, what was your first reaction as far as that is concerned?
Well, my first reaction was that of great disappointment and grief. Grief in the sense that in spite of what our association or the NGO has been doing to sensitize and to kind of warn girls and those who are supposed to be traveling out of the country on the dangers and the evils of them not falling prey to human traffickers, this is still repeating itself. And also grieved by the fact that much is not being done on the part of government to arrest this situation. I mean, from both hands, I mean, arrest the traffickers, and why not also put in place some measures that will curb this human trafficking in the Middle East countries. We started this whole process so many years back, and I thought by now with the Ministry of Women Empowerment we visited, and of course the Ministry of External Relations that promised to collaborate with us to do a lot in this domain. We thought a lot must have been done, but it would appear from all indications that this ill is still wreaking havoc in our society, and why not on our girls.
Larry, some child, or I mean, trafficking in human beings, trafficking has been something that governments have not always accepted, or society, the law does not permit that. Now, what do you think the government is doing as far as agents that facilitate the movement of these girls to Kuwait in order to trap down these agents back here in the country and limit the trafficking that is operating?
I will be doing injustice and being dishonest if I don't say that government has been doing putting some efforts to arrest the situation, especially those perpetuating the crime. I mean, the traffickers. I should be very honest with you that government is doing its best. As at the last time we met with the then Secretary General in the Ministry of External Relations, who is today the Minister Delegate in that same ministry, Mr. Felix? Felix. In fact, he bared his mind with us and told us measures that have been taken to fight them. At that time, he even told us that some of these traffickers were arrested and some are still being trailed, and that they have put down and put in place a mechanism which is being used in order to track down others who are in hiding and who are still perpetuating the crime. And then there were other measures. It is as a result of this, the complaints we gave, that the government had to step up, the extension of diplomatic missions to some of these countries, as we heard. And I think it was in line with trying to curb some of these excesses and some of these ills, so that Cameroonians in this area could always turn to their embassies for assistance. Now, unfortunately,
go ahead.
Unfortunately, Kuwait, which is the heart of this whole ill, has not been touched. We still have to go through other countries in order to obtain laissez-passer for the children who are there. So I'm saying that I think much has to still be done.
Which means Cameroon does not have any diplomatic relations or representative in Kuwait?
No, there is none. There is none for now. But I think the one of Saudi Arabia is like covering Kuwait and some other countries there. Recent, I think it's not quite 2 years back, Cameroon opened up diplomatic relations with, I think, Saudi Arabia and some other neighboring countries. But then Kuwait itself is still depending on some other countries for a diplomatic mission.
Now, you own this association called the Committee for Human Trafficking, that standing against human trafficking, and equally human rights abuse, COMATRA. You equally master the Middle East, or maybe Kuwait and the other towns there. What specific example can you give us of the human rights violation these girls that leave Cameroon and they go over there for greener pasture, they go through on a daily basis?
No, it's a very pathetic situation. It's quite pathetic. We founded this association with a returnee in the name of our Francisca, who was my vice president and the board chairman, the chair of this organization. Thank God, for reasons of fighting from different fronts, she decided to found another association that is also hitting hard on this same line. Okay. And so when she returned, it was quite a very bitter experience. So she came back thanks to the assistance of another volunteer or somebody of goodwill who ferried her back, because she was locked up, she was beaten up, she was raped. I mean, a lot of things. She was being beaten. She worked more than 12 or 24. She was almost working 24 hours around the clock. And then she like kind of sleeping with pets. They are looked upon as slaves. And so when they buy you, the tendency is that you come there, you don't have time for yourself. You don't even complain that you are sick. You don't complain that you are tired. They believe that you are there as a slave, and as slaves you work yourself mad, and even to death. So even when you complain of sickness, these guys don't have time to take you to the hospital, because they paid for your coming, and they buy you. There is somewhere there they call the center, and that center is like a market. It's a supermarket where they sell human beings. They sell slaves.
It means it's just a replica of the slave trade that was abolished.
That's exactly what is happening. Because when you are coming here, when you are leaving Cameroon, for instance, what this sugar-coated tongue traffickers do is that they paint the situation very, very positive. They tell you are going there as an English language or something teacher with a salary. They give you an interesting and appetizing salary that will push you. In some cases, some victims even sell off their property to go to these places, and when they get there, when immediately you get to the airport, the reality start facing you. They bundle you people in one small room. I was privileged to see it when I made the first trip there. They bundle you into one room. I mean, you people squat on the floor. You meet other girls there, waiting for those who paid for this thing to come. When they come, they now start bargaining. They come on, the people come there, you come, you turn around.
When you talk about bargaining, it means it's some sort of a buy and sell.
It's a buy and sell.
The girls are considered like
articles. The girls are looked upon there. They are packed like goods. And then people come there. Those who in need of the goods come. And then they point at one person and say, okay, stand up, you stand, you turn around, they inspect you. And then later on, they start the bargaining. It is over the counter. They bargain. And when they strike a bargain, you are therefore handed to that person as a product. The man pays at the counter there, and your traveling documents are handed to that person, and every other thing. So you go in now for maybe 2 years or so, after which you may renew your contract depending on what it's agreed. But then, as soon as you go into that man, every other right is seized. Now, you don't have a right to phone, you don't have a right to communication, you don't have a right, you cannot communicate with even your family back home. If something happens back home here, you don't have a right to say, I am going for those guys. So it's quite an unfortunate situation.
Now, Larry, so the situation you are painting there, many people will think that is not a country with laws governing the people that live there. What are authorities of Kuwait saying as far as that inhuman treatment is concerned?
I think the laws are there, but at the same time, the applications of the law is what was the issue there. And the attitude, what is the attitude towards the law by the people? That's exactly where my problem is. Because when most of these girls, when they run away and move to a police station, nearby police station, they are sent back. They call the masters to come. The police will call their masters to come and pick them up. So is that a country that is definitely respecting international norms? I said no. I think there is something that has to be done in order to curb that situation. So when we are talking of laws, when you are in trouble, I think the nearest place you can go is to seek refuge in a public security or some office. And when you come there and you cannot have this, if you are not given this opportunity to be sheltered or probably to be protected, and you are rather sent back into the hell you left. So are we talking of laws here? So the laws maybe are shaped or designed to favor the inhabitants of that law, the citizens of that area.
So let's go back to the call that have been made by these 14 girls. Do you see the Cameroon government doing everything to repatriate these girls into the country while they are still alive? For a start,
the government has taken a bold step. According to a communique I also went through yesterday, government has already dispatched a delegation there, and the delegation has been able to, according to the communique, to procure what we call laissez-passer for the girls. Now, laissez-passer, why would they be asking for laissez-passer? Because the traveling documents of these girls have been confiscated by their owners. I mean, those who bought them. And so they will not give them. Yes, their masters. So it is difficult for anybody to travel out of Kuwait without your traveling documents. So in order to facilitate their return, they have to seek, to obtain what we call laissez-passer from the nearest Cameroon embassy in any country. And that, I think government said it has done it. And we look forward, and they said in the next few days, I think they will be repatriating these girls back to their parents here.
Perhaps the last question as far as this particular topic is concerned, what are you doing with your organization doing as a level of sensitization back home to discourage such a movement that is detrimental to the girl herself and equally the entire family?
Yeah, we have carried out a series of sensitization campaigns, door to door. Some we've been to schools, especially we target the age group between the ages of 16 and about 35, who are very vulnerable to these activities and to these people. So we target them, we go to them, we tell them the ills of falling prey to these guys. That somebody comes here and is telling you about sending you to a country to go pick a job, you should be able to know. And then you go into concrete arrangement. The job description and everything should be signed here. And he should take, he should kind of take an engagement that if it doesn't work, he has to be pursued here by your people. But then, we have been doing this. We have gone to meeting houses. We've been to youth associations. We've been to villages, because most of the victims are from these villages, the hinterlands, where in fact their financial situation is not the best.
So and many of them think that the rate of unemployment in Cameroon is always a push factor for people to go out.
That they can always make it there. So it becomes, when you come telling them this, it's like you are trying to discourage some people from going out of the country. So it's like you have failed. And so that's the more reason. They'll tell you they were going to make it. I remember a lady who told me that. They said, no, if you have failed, you went out there, you didn't do anything, I will do it. They said, people have been surviving. That's the concept most people have, most girls do have now. Now, without any threat here or something to do, you are going to Kuwait. What do you think you're going to do in Kuwait, if not slavery? And then those who are probably today congratulating or making it good in Kuwait, I'm not saying that all Kuwaitis are bad, but I'm saying that those who are making it good, who are girls, are into prostitution. That is exactly what pays there now. Because, and where we have a place I visited Kuwait, and I went there and met several Cameroonians who have been, disappointed, and probably they have no way. There are fears that they would not want to come back here because their parents, I mean, some people, a lot of the shame factor is there. Okay. The others have sold out some of their properties that they relied on, the last thing they relied on. So coming back here is like, coming to face the reality. So they will rather prefer to be there and do dirty things like prostitution. There's one place that they call Mabola. In Mabola, that's where the prostitution is at its height. And you agree with me that there the use of condom is very scarce. And so most of these girls come back infested with terrible diseases.
We are receiving Larry ESSONG. He is a journalist and equally the president of the Committee Against Human Trafficking and the Right Abuse, COMATRA, telling us more about the issues of girls that go out to Kuwait for greener pasture, but later on they are sold out there as slaves. Let's talk a little more about the Anglophone crisis, since we are receiving a journalist and equally a publisher of the Scope newspaper, Larry ESSONG. What does it take reporting now in the southwest region of the country that have been marked by conflict?
Well, Dominic, you agree with me that it is not easy reporting in a war-torn zone, in a war area. It is quite difficult. It is either you're stepping on the legs of this party or the other party. And so as a journalist who want to make it as balanced as you want to make your story, you're bound to be, taken for one thing or the other. So it is completely insecure, as I want to put it. It's insecure to report exactly what is happening in these areas, because you will be stepping on some toes, and that is very dangerous, especially now where it has gone full-fledged into an armed conflict. You don't know who is going to do what. Journalists, you may be kidnapped here, and the next minute you are no more. I mean, for those who not even know what your profession is all about. So it's a very delicate situation. A
delicate situation there you mentioned. Now, it's difficult for journalists. Do you have any protection, perhaps, from security officials, a journalist doing his work to investigate and report facts? Do you have some protection from the security?
Protection, you're saying here, who would not say that the security officials are not doing their job, but how secured are you after doing that job? Do you have security in your home? Are there security officers positioned at your doorstep and everywhere to take care of you? Are the security officers going from one place to another with you? And so on and so forth. So the whole situation is like, well, when the security officers are probably going to excesses and you report, are they going to be happy with you? And then if the other party, the restoration forces are going to, or maybe carrying out this, and you want to report that, are they going to be happy with you? Who is going to protect you at what time? So you realize that we are in a situation, we are in a dilemma, in a situation where you speak, you are in trouble. You don't speak,
you're still in trouble. We have seen massive movement of persons from the southwest moving to other regions of the country, and equally from the northwest region of the country. You are based in Buea. When these people are moving out of, you're based in Kumba. When these people are moving out of Kumba, what actually are they telling you they are afraid of?
Well, who is a friend to the bullet? I think nobody. When there is an armed conflict, we are not talking of strokes here or maybe
stones.
Yeah, that's right. We're talking of bullets, guns that emit live bullets and that have been destructive. You see people falling. So who knows where the gun is facing? Who knows the next target or the next victim? We've had several cases of what we call today stray bullets, even though they may be targeted shooting, but in fact a lot of them. And so if you see your brother, maybe the next door neighbor, felled by a bullet, I think, what will you do? Will you want to stay in that place and stay back there? I don't think so. So we don't want to know whose bullet has, felled who, but the tendency is for you to want to first of all secure, find somewhere where it's in total security, and that is I think that is the first reason why people are migrating from these war areas now, because the fierce fighting has not left anybody secured.
The picture you paint there is, it gives the impression that campaigns and equally voting might not be a reality there.
Well, politicians are politicians, and at this moment I don't want to say that it might not be a reality, but when I look at the stakes, I want to say that if the population is really out, the villages, you agree with me that within Kumba we don't have villages again. Almost all the villages, if you are moving from Boya to Kumba, maybe the last village which has also been emptied now, Munya and my 16, that were maybe bustling with some vitality, but then of recent have also been visited and have been emptied, were those that showed symptoms of life. Now, when you start from a corner, you start realizing that you are into a war zone, a place that has been overridden now by grass and everything, by herbs and houses abandoned, right down to the last place where you start seeing a glimmer of life of somebody. It's in Kumba. That is, I should be at Barombika. So now that is the same scenario I'm painting of the road to Ekondo Titi, from Kumba to Ekondo Titi right down. I think you start seeing some glimmer of light at Ekondo Titi, and why not even in Mundemba. So in that situation, I don't know who are those to vote. And Kumba today, I must confess, 3/4 of the population is down, is out. Boya is following suit, and the rest of the people. So I think I would not deny the fact that elections may not hold, but I think credible elections may not hold.
Thank you so much, Larry ESSONG. You are the publisher of the Scope newspaper and equally the president of the Committee Against Human Trafficking and Right Abuse, abbreviated as COMATRA. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to talk to us on the program Evidence.
It is my pleasure, Dominic, and I'm always there, very open.
We thank all of you who watch us this day for staying with us, and we invite you to continue watching Canada English for more interesting programs. I am Dominic Memengwakimo, wishing you a nice day.